Moin Moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. In the last year Nikon had the full frame offensive. They brought a lot of cameras in the full frame sector, the DSLR, the 610, the 810, the 750 and the D4S. So they brought out a wide range of full frame sensor cameras in the DSLR market. But at the APS-C market there were only the entry models like the 5000er series and the 3000 series, but not the pro cameras. But this year Nikon comes with the new pro model, the D7200. So that's a follow-up of the 7100. To be honest, when I got the camera and looked at the camera, my first thought was, oh, that's the 7100, only with a new label. Because when you look at the camera, you will recognize all the buttons, the dials are exactly the same, there are no differences. We still have the small display here on top, we have the buttons here at the front, we have the HDMI connector, headphone, microphone and stuff like this. But when you look at the outside of the camera, I think there are no new things. I miss a little bit the change to a turnable display or a touch screen. Both would be perfect because I like the turnable display and I like the touch screen very much. So these are 2 points I would think that the D7200 would have, but no, it's still a fixed monitor and it's still no touchscreen, so that's exactly the same like the 7100. So the question is, what is new between the new model and the old one? The first point which is new, the 7200 has a built-in Wi-Fi with an NFC connector. You have here the symbol, the NFC connector symbol, and you have the Wi-Fi symbol. So you can connect smartphones to the camera very easy just by pointing to the NFC sensor. So that's very easy and that's very simple. But the Wi-Fi functions are still limited, so there's not the big range of options you have for the settings you can make, but still it's a little bit better than the old one. Next point which is new, that's the processor. We have the Exceed 4 instead of the Exceed 3 processor, so it's a little bit faster. The autofocus is a little bit faster. You can store more pictures in RAW, but the serial speed or the speed went up, so we have still 6 or 7 frames per second in the different settings. So that's exactly the same like the 7100 had. So there's no gain in the speed. It's still on the same level like the model before. The autofocus may be a little bit faster. It's difficult for me to check because I don't have the 7100 and the 7200 both here in the Foto-Bude to check between both. But I think yes, it's a little bit faster, but again, the 7100 was on a very high level, so it's okay, but actually it was high enough in the 7100. So the question is, what is an important point? One point is we have a different ISO setting at the 7200. So when we go to the menus, and in the menus you will see also that the points are very similar to the 7100 is. We have the storage folder, file naming. We still have 2 card slots here at the side for the SD cards, image quality, fine and raw settings, image size, area, JPEG compression. We have the white balance setting, picture control. And now we come after the different other settings. We come to the ISO sensitivity setting, and when we go here we start, I have to go down, so you will see that we start at ISO 100, and then we go up to the highest ISO setting in color, that's 25,600, and then we have the high BW1 and high BW2, so these are the two high settings, 51,200, 100, 2,400, but they are only in black and white. So when you see I have taken pictures of my test chart here, you see this is my test chart and these are the high settings here. You see we have the color settings till 25,600, and then we have at the high ISO settings we have the two color settings which are the two black and white settings which are going up to 100, 2,400. So these are the two new ISO settings which the 7200 has. We have the different auto ISO settings. We can set the maximum sensitivity and the minimum shutter speed. Remote control, multiple exposure, interval timer shooting, that's it. And then we come to the new point, that's the movie shooting menu. And when we go to the movie shooting menu, you will see that we have with the frame size and frame rate, we have different settings here, which are going from 24, 25, 30 up to 50 and 60p. But there's one very important point. You only get the 50 and 60p if you have the small image area, the 18 by 12 image area. If you go up to the full DX format, the APS-C format, you will recognize that you don't have the highest resolutions 50 and 60p. You only have them if you choose the small format. I don't know why this is, because we have the Exceed processor, which is a very fast processor, and other companies, camera companies, get also from a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor the 50 and 60p frame rate. I don't know why Nikon limited this to the small format 18 by 12 millimeters, because when you want to make wide angle shots, you still have the factor 1.6 from the full frame sensor to APS-C, and then you have the smaller format, and that's the factor 2.0. So when you use an 18 millimeter lens like this one is, you will get an image size of 36 millimeter. And so I don't know why they did this, but I would love to see when they go to the full APS-C format to make real nice wide angle shots also with 18 millimeter lens. So that's one limitation you should know, and one limitation you should know how to get rid of it. You must change to the smaller format. Movie quality, microphone sensitivity, as I said before, you have the microphone in on the side and the headphone in. So these are the different settings, nothing new here in this area. Coming to the custom settings menus, and also here if you look to the custom settings, you will recognize there are also no real new stuff in the settings. We have the priority selection for AFC, continuous and AFS single shooting, focus tracking, and so on. Lots of points, but every point you have here in this menu is a point you know from the 7100, and which I explained very good in the other video about the 7100. So if you want to know more about the camera, you can use the 7100 video, because there are all the custom functions. I explain all the custom functions of the camera. Setup menu, again, all the same stuff. Here we have the important point of the Wi-Fi, NFC, and that's it, what I explained before. The Wi-Fi module is now built in the camera. You don't have to use the external Wi-Fi box which you put in here in the USB connector. If we go to the layout of the camera, as I said before, we have the 4 buttons here on the side, the live view button here, the 4-way button here, replay and trash, AEL, AFL, dial number 1 on the back side, dial number 2 on the front side, the small display for the most important informations here, plus minus correction, and the metering here. Then we have the different settings here, PASM and the effects, and U1 and U2, the individual settings, and then the scene mode. If you want to change the scene, just turn the dial on the back side and you will see, no, just press the info and then turn the dial, and then you will see the different settings here, which you can choose from, starting from portrait, landscape, child, sport, close-up, and so on. Exactly the same when you go to the effects. If you go to the effects, you will see that we have exactly the same like we had before, with night vision, color sketch, and so on. So that's nothing new here in this section. Working with a camera is exactly the same like the 7100. For example, you press the ISO button, hold the ISO button. With the front dial you change between ISO and outer ISO, and with the back dial you make the setting of the ISO speed. If you press at the front button here on the autofocus setting, you can choose between the different autofocus settings. You can choose with a back dial between AF single autofocus continuous, and autofocus automatic. And with the front dial you make the different settings, including the 3D mode in C and in AFA and AFC. If you are in the autofocus single, you can change between the full area and the single area, which you can move around. I explained this in the other video where I explained the autofocus setting of the 7100. I explained this very good, so you can look this video and have exactly the same functions here at the 7200. So these are the most important functions and settings of the 7200. I think it's only a minor upgrading between the 100. So if you want the Wi-Fi function, okay, but you have this on the 7100 also with the external Wi-Fi box, the new video functions. But to be honest, I would love to see the video function also in the full APS-C sensor, and not only in the smaller frame. And so I think that Nikon should do a little bit more to the competitor Canon, which is a little bit more into the video business than Nikon. Nikon still is in photography, but I think the video part is not so strong when I look to Nikon. Yeah, so talking about the picture quality, the difference between the 7100 and 200 is not very big. You can see this in my Flickr account. Go to my Flickr account and there you will see the different picture quality, and you can compare the picture quality. It's still on a high level. What you're expecting for a camera like this, high level for sure, and it's on a high level. The high ISO is a little bit better than with the old model, but to be honest, both are on a really high level. And the picture quality also depends on the lens, and one of my favorite lenses I used the last weeks on this camera was this one, the 24 to 70 millimeter 2.8. That's a real nice lens. It's a little bit heavy, it's expensive, but the picture quality is outstanding. I love this lens because it gives me the complete range of daily photography from 24 to 70 millimeter. I can make a little bit of landscape, portrait and stuff like this, and therefore this lens is very good, and I like this lens very much with the Nikon 7200. Okay, so that's it for today. The new APS-C camera DSLR from Nikon 7200 24 megapixel. ISO sensitivity 24,600 and high ISO 51,200 and 100/4, but only in the black and white mode. Then we have the new video functions up to 50 and 60p, but also here again only in the small format, 18 by 12 millimeter. Yeah, so these are the most important new points. So I forgot the Wi-Fi function, the built-in Wi-Fi function of the 7200. So that's it for today. Hope there are coming up some more interesting cameras with some new features in this moment. I think it's a little bit quiet in the photo scene. We had last year the Photo Keener, I know, but still in the springtime we get a lot of new cameras, but this year it's a little bit less. There are not so many innovations. We had the new video function in some of the cameras, but now it's a little bit more settled. We are in an advanced level, and so there are not so many innovations at this time. And that's one of the reasons I go to the copter scene, because in the copter scene it's exactly the opposite. In the copter scene we have lots of innovations, we have lots of new copters, lots of new technique. That's a real nice big market, a growing market, and that's one of the reasons why I'm in this copter market, because I have to be in a market which is growing and which is interesting, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not only in the photography but also in the copter market. And I hope you can understand this, because I'm a techie and I love new products, so that's the reason why. Yes, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed my review of the Nikon D7200. Hope to see you back again on some of my other videos, and till now and again, bye and moin moin.